Next, I worked for the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless, where I learned the basic lessons of community organizing and how to advocate for changes in public policy. I then founded and directed a program called A-Hope. It was an outreach and empowerment organizing project with the chronically homeless that later won awards as a model program. I gained the trust of people who lived under interstate bridges and in abandoned buildings, Vietnam veterans distrustful of authority, those suffering from depression and substance abuse. I formed support groups for those people, and together we organized to improve emergency shelters. Ultimately, we constructed a safe haven shelter and a drop-in center where people could eat, use the bathroom, shower, make a phone call, wash clothes, store their things, and receive supportive services. Both my successes and my frustrations in my work with the homeless led me to the decision to go to law school in order to become a more effective advocate for people. But my path through Northwestern Law School was always very clear to me because I knew who I was. Instead of using my summers to work at big law firms in hopes of landing a six-figure salary, I worked in the school's legal clinic to exonerate wrongfully convicted men on death row. I worked with Flint Taylor and the People's Law Office on the Burge cases. I traveled to prisons around the state to meet and interview the men tortured by Burge. I worked on Anthony Porter's case, the 12th person who was exonerated in Illinois after being wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't commit. I wrote portions of the emergency petition that we filed to save his life 48 hours before his scheduled execution. In my third year of law school, I began to think of community-based economic development as a way to address some of the root causes of poverty. So after graduating and taking the bar, I went back to the South Side, back to my heart, and worked with community organizations and grassroots leaders, including then State Senator Barack Obama, to organize the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. Located at 55th and Wentworth, the credit union is a not-for-profit, low-income designated community development financial institution. The credit union is a direct alternative to the financial exploitation of the Black community, to currency exchanges, payday lenders, vehicle title lenders, predatory home lenders, and so on. It provides low-cost and free financial services, affordable credit, and basic financial education. It now has assets of $4 million and about 2,000 members. I personally raised $1.7 million for the credit union before it opened in 2003. And since then, we have brought to the South Side millions more in deposits, grants, and investments from banks, foundations, and government. This is capital and jobs that otherwise would not have come to the South Side. Since 2003, I've been a public interest litigation attorney. First with the Legal Assistance Foundation in Metropolitan Chicago, then with the consumer rights law firm of Edelman and Combs, and now with my own law firm. At Edelman, we brought a class action against the CTA in 2007 when there was a cash fare increase and the newly introduced Chicago cards were supposed to save people money on the increase, but they were generally out of stock. In 2005, we worked with CETA to file an emergency class action against the Illinois Department of Public Aid when it wasn't processing people's applications for emergency energy assistance, and elderly and disabled people had no heat in their homes during October and November. At my own firm now, I'm co-counseling several of the nationwide class actions for racial discrimination and reverse redlining against subprime mortgage lenders like Countrywide, Option One, First Franklin, and others. But mostly during the last 6 years, long before there was an official housing crisis, I've been bringing federal cases on behalf of the honest, hardworking families who were the unknowing victims of predatory mortgage lenders. The compelling stories of some of my clients have been videotaped and are posted on our campaign website, alhofeldjr.com. I sue subprime mortgage firms, unscrupulous mortgage brokers, and Wall Street banks that now hold the loans in cases for fraud, racial discrimination, truth in lending violations, and other illegal practices. I've won again and again, getting the loans canceled and saving my clients' homes. This is the work that I've done. This is Al Hofeld Jr. I see myself as a community organizer with a law degree. What I want you to understand, what I hope you'll take away today, is that this is somebody who's already been through the crucible of self-identity. I come to politics knowing whom I serve. It's too late for me to forget where I came from. I've seen too much injustice. I've known too many poor people and homeless people and sick people who I've come to care about and love to forget where I've come from. I've been able to accomplish a lot without ever holding elected office. But I learned a long time ago from people like Harold Washington and Len DePrey that if you love people, if you have a true compassion, then you're compelled to work for justice. And if you want justice, you have to enter politics. There's really no choice in the matter. I'm running because my passion for justice, my conscience, and my faith have grown to this point. It's a culmination of the work I've done to this point. My spirit is boiling over, and I have to do this. What I really want, and what I know you want because you're here, is economic justice. My faith teaches me that it's God's will for all children, no matter their race or class, to have an equal opportunity to develop fully as human beings, to realize all of their God-given potential of talent and personality. But too many children in this district don't start off with the necessary resources or a real chance to do that. So those children need us to secure for them the basic opportunities and resources in healthcare, education, housing, and jobs that will allow them to grow and blossom. They need for us to create and provide a climate of peace, not violence. And we, you and me, are God's hands in the world. We are the government. The government is us. It's our collective responsibility to work for that universal good start in life, for that level playing field for every child. In other words, God's love for all is a mandate to us to work for economic justice. Our own state constitution recognizes this common obligation. It says, "We, the people of the state of Illinois, in order to provide for the health, safety, and welfare of the people, eliminate poverty and inequality, assure legal, social, and economic justice, provide opportunity for the fullest development of the individual, do ordain and establish this Constitution." Government is for all of the people, not just the poor. I am running to be the state senator for all of the residents of the 13th district. The district is a microcosm of America. It has the extremes of wealth and poverty. It has people black, white, and at the southern end, Latino. It has Millennium Park in the north, and in the south, schools that can't afford textbooks for their students. It is home to those concerned with property tax relief and good government reforms, as well as those who don't have a job or enough food to eat. I'm uniquely suited for this particular district because I've been traversing these very different geographies and mindsets for years. I've also lived in the north end of the district with my dad as a teenager and a college student home on breaks. I see and recognize all needs and concerns as legitimate. This state Senate seat also has a special legacy. Just 5 years ago, it was held by the first African American president of the United States. We all continue to feel, I feel, the incredible sense of empowerment, affirmation, and liberation from having a progressive African American from the south side of Chicago as our president. But everybody should know that Senator Raul was not Obama's chosen successor for this seat. State Representative Will Burns was. I know, and others in this room know, because we were present when Senator Raul was appointed to the seat by committeemen in November of 2004.